There we go. Can you guys hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me. If you can, just type in the comment. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know in the comment if you guys could hear me. I'm not sure. Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure. I think this is my second time using this. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Donna. Come on in. Let me just pull up your questions. Perfect. Come on in. I want you guys to invite someone. If anyone you know is looking for housing or just need to know about affordable housing, send them this link so they could join. Let me pull up your question. And my food just came, you guys, but I didn't want to delay starting the live with you guys, and I don't want to be rude and eat while I'm talking, but come on in. Let's get this going. Let me just pull up the questions. All right. And I want you guys to thank, hope I'm saying her name right, Tega, for sending me a few questions. She's awesome. She's always in the comments and just always participating. So I'm just gonna give it a few more minutes before we get started. I think there's a chat feature on this where you guys could also type questions and it comes on the screen, I think. Donna, are you in the process right now? Donna Clark, are you in the process right now? Did you apply as yet? Anyone that's in the process right now, type yes, I'm in the process in the comment section. Paulina, Gina, Raz, Olga, let me know. Type in the comment. Let me know if you guys are in the process, if you're just now learning about affordable housing. I want to see where everyone is at. Sorry, guys, I got to taste my food. My first meal for the day. Olga, yes, yeah. Okay, greetings. Okay. Perfect, Gina. Where are you, Gina? Tell me, were you contacted? Did you get a log number? Kara, yes. Perfect. Kara, tell me where you are in the process. Were you contacted? And Donna, since you're the first person here, you get the first Zoom session. So I told you guys I'm going to do 4 Zoom sessions. So Donna Clark, you're going to get one as well. Let me just make notes. So Donna, after this video, send me your email so I could send you the link for the 15-minute Zoom session so I could help you based on where you are in the process. So Donna, Tega, and one other person. So there's 2 more. I said I'm gonna do 5. There's 3 already. So there's 2 more. Sorry guys, I have to taste something. All right. Raz is not waiting. Raz is dropping the questions. Okay, I'm gonna answer that right now. Lovely, I think I'm saying it right. Can you tell me where you are in the process? Good evening, Rochelle. So Raz, regarding savings account, I'm sorry guys, I just have to taste this, but I don't want to pass out on the live. Raz, so regarding 401k and savings account, so what happened is your total asset is combined, right? But 401k, the value of your 401, the total value of your 401k is not counted. what they do is there's when you have, depending on the type of 401k you have, most people could withdraw with a penalty, and that penalty is typically 10%. So what happened is that they calculate that, whereas less 10%, and then your total asset is what's shown on your tick if you're applying, and 0.5% of your total asset is counted towards your income. So I always tell people, don't worry about asset, because you would have to have a lot of money. For when I say a lot, you would have to have millions of dollars in order for the imputed income, which is 0.05%, to cause you to be over income or anything. Normally it was 2%, where it's a little different, but 0.05% of your total asset, trust me, it's not going to make any difference in your income. Okay, I just had to taste something before I die. Okay, I hope that helped. No, Donna said she applied several times, no luck as yet. Well, Donna, I'm gonna help you change that, because a lot of our community here, once they started just really watching the videos, following the process, a lot of people got approved. So I'm gonna help you. I mean, I can't guarantee that you're going to get approved, but I'm going to walk you through the steps so you can understand better. A lot of people weren't getting approved because they didn't understand the process. So they were just randomly just, applying and not really paying attention to what they applied to. Olga said, yes, I've applied several times. I have log numbers to several and some on a waiting list. Okay. Once you have a log number, you have a chance. So that is good. I go see. Kara, are you saying no, Tega, no worries. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for your email. I appreciate you. So I think, Tega, remind me, I think you got an apartment already. I could be wrong, but I think you do. Let me know. Kara, are you saying you're going to see an apartment? Is that what you're saying? Let me add these. I forgot that I could add these. Yes, my log number is 265, and I was contacted already, signed some document, and lastly was issued a unit number. But what is the process after that? Okay, so that is awesome. Everyone say congrats, Gina, in the comments. So Gina, you were assigned a unit. So you saw the unit. Did you see the unit already? What happens is, I don't know if your documents, do you know if your documents is with the leasing team or if they sent your documents off to the agency as yet? Because what happened is that initially you sign a few of the paperwork that they put together. Once you sign those, that's when they send it off to the agency, because it has to be signed before they send it off. So once the agency approved the documents, then the leasing team will reach out to you and coordinate a lease sign-in. Some show the unit after you're approved. It just depends on their process. Also keep in mind, if when your documents is at the agency, sometimes they could come back with corrections. Typically, the leasing team does a correction. Like if it's something that they need to do on their end, they do it. Sometimes they have to reach out to you for additional information. It just depends what the corrections are. But I'm happy for you. So just right now, I think you just have to wait to just hear back to see what's going on their end, and just be prompt if they request any information. Just make sure that you provide it timely, so that way they could keep going with your process. Pardon me for eating, guys. It's my first meal for the day. Okay. Gina, let me know if that answered your question. Still applying, haven't heard anything back yet. Don't give up, keep applying. what I always say is make sure that you're applying for lotteries that you actually qualify for. A lot of what I noticed with a lot of people, they apply to, they just click apply, and then they say they're not getting contacted back, but they're not applying for things that they're eligible for. And the other thing that I always say, a lot of times persons are applying, but their information is not updated. You have to make sure before you apply, you should make sure all your information and your profile is current, and that you're actually, applying to lotteries that you qualify for, as I said before. Okay, Raz, that's fine. I don't want you guys to stress about log numbers. Once you get an application ID, that means that they're in receipt of your entry to that lottery. They're still behind with log numbers. I was hoping that would have been resolved by now, but it's not the case. Once you have an application ID, guys, you have nothing to worry about, even if the lottery is closed. So don't stress yourself about that at all. I'm just happy that you guys are actually applying. That's what I want you to do, because in order to have a chance, you have to have an entry, right? Okay, I actually got an email from the agency last Friday saying there were no units available for my tier. HC said something, Housing Connect said something different. Um, what they may mean by that, right? So on Housing Connect, you may see all the units that were initially available. However, if there were lower log numbers, lower than your number, and they already got up to, they already say they had 5 studios, right? And you had log number 20, and there were 5 lower log numbers than yours that qualify for those studios, then there will be no more units available. So that's completely possible. Yes, everyone say congrats to Gina. Yes, you have to. I love that you said this. Yes, I've learned to apply intentionally. Yes. And you guys have to be positive about it. Like, I said this in a few videos, like the same energy it takes to be negative is the same energy it requires to be positive. So why be negative? Why not just be positive? Right? And you have to know that all things are going to work out for you when it's supposed to. So you just have to be positive about it and not think the worst, like I'm never going to get it. Because if you keep telling yourself you're never going to get it, and guess what? You may not get it. So just think positive and just say, if this is for me, if it's supposed to happen now, it's going to happen. So just be intentional and keep going. Don't give up. Yes, I did get a unit. Your videos helped me a lot, especially when they try to ignore. Yes, now I remember. See, my memory's not all that bad. I remember, Tiga, I think you said that. I think you emailed me regarding an appeal, and I sent a recommendation of how to respond to them. And I think you said after you sent that email, they finally responded to you. So that is great. I so greatly appreciate you. You're so awesome. And like you're so willing to pour into others that you're even still here. And thank you for supporting me and still being a part of this community, even though you got your unit. I really appreciate that. And I trust that you're telling your friends and your loved ones that this is possible. So I want everyone to say congrats, Tega. Tega got her apartment. If you could drop in the comments, let everyone know how long you've been applying, because I want them to know that, it's possible. You just have to be of good courage. So everyone say congrats to Tega. And it's possible, guys. Everything is going to work out for you when it's supposed to. So thank you, Tega. I really appreciate you. And I got your email with the questions. So I so greatly appreciate that. You're amazing. I hope I'm not missing anyone question. If I do, just let me know. Oh, yeah. I'm approved. I go next week to see the apartment. Amazing, amazing. Everyone say congrats, Kara. That is amazing. See, these are the things that I like to hear. So, Kara, I'm so happy for you, and that's amazing. I hope that you love the apartment. What I want you to do when you go see the apartment, right? Don't let them like if they only show. I don't. Did they assign you a unit number already? Oftentimes they'll do that, but sometimes there's more units available. So I want you to be intentional, Kara. Go see the apartment. I don't want you to settle. Make sure you're in love with it. It's gonna be your new home. So you need to see yourself there for a while. Right? A lot of persons, and I see this happen all the time, and you may not understand it yet because you're like, child, don't kill my spirit. I'm just so excited for this. But what I see a lot is that sometimes persons are so excited that they forget to look at certain details, right? And then when they're in, and I get these things all the time, then you know after they move in 2 months later, say, hey, do you have any units that's not facing the school, or do you have any units on a higher floor, or do this, do that, little things, right? So I want you to make sure that you're happy. I'm not saying be picky about everything, but make sure you can see yourself there. Observe the environment that the unit is in. If you're a person that likes certain things, just make sure that, you just check it out and don't just be forced like, oh, it's 2 seconds. You just look and you're good. No. Pay attention to the details and ask them if they have any other units available. Don't be afraid to ask them that. Just don't let, oftentimes, though they only show you one unit, oftentimes there's other unit available. So you can say like, oh, this is great, but I wanted to know, do you have any other units in the same income tier that I qualify for that's available? I would love the opportunity to see another unit. Just put it out there, because legally, not legally, technically, if they do, they sometimes people don't ask, so they don't have to answer. But if you do ask and they tell you no and that was a lie, they could run into issues. So I want you guys to ask that. Be bold. They can't deny you for personal reason, or they can't impact your application because you asked that question. So find out that. Don't let them just show you one unit unless it's honestly the only unit available. But the only way you'll know is if you ask. I hope that helped. I've been applying for years. I make sure I update my information, but no response. I'm a city worker, but it has not helped me. Cassia, I hope I'm saying your name right. Do not be discouraged. Being a city worker, if you're a municipal employee, there's a preference. There's a 5% preference that municipal employees get. So be of good courage. Continue to apply. Make sure your email address. Well, you have the port. Housing Connect 2 is a better system now. Make sure you're going on. Just checking if there's any update your email address to make sure all your information is current. But don't be disappointed. Like, when it's to work out for you, it will. So just keep applying. I've known people that's been applying for years, and they eventually get it. So don't be discouraged. Watch the videos, prepare yourself, because it's coming, right? So be ready for it, be knowledgeable, so when you do get contacted, you know exactly how the process works. So I'll say, still watch the videos, be informed, so that way when they call you, you already know. Okay. Everyone tell Cassia, do not give up. Do not give up. Cassia, I'm going to look forward to seeing you comment in a future video that, hey, guess what? I got my apartment. So we're going to look forward to that. So be of good courage, okay? Hey, Maxine, hope you had a great day too. Okay, let me see. Finally. Okay, so you got the log number, you're going through the process, and they say no units available. That's fine. So you're on the wait list. Don't be discouraged. That happens. As you guys know, it's, sometimes there's limited units available, but don't be discouraged. You're on the wait list. You could still be contacted, still continue to apply to developers that you qualify for. Okay, everything is going to work out in your favor when it's supposed to. Okay. Hello, how about the process for people with city theft vouchers? So the process is pretty much this. Well, for the most part, the process is the same, right? So the thing that I always say with city FEPs, and I don't like talking about vouchers because it's so many different scenarios, so many different programs. So if you're applying for low income affordable housing, if your voucher covers all the rent, then that's good, right? If your voucher does not cover all the rent, you have to meet the qualification requirements. So that's what it is with city FEPs. And city FEPs, yeah, I don't want to talk about city FEPs. They're not I'm not too fond of them, but I'm glad they afford a lot of persons, the assistance they need. Oh, I have a profile I need to delete because the income is incorrect. I don't use it. However, I don't want it to possibly disqualify me. So, Donna, are you saying you have two profiles, or like clarify that for me? The profile that you're talking about, is this on Housing Connect 2.0, or are you talking about the old Housing Connect? Yes, God plan is perfect and it will happen at that point in time. Yes, everything will happen when it's supposed to. So we just have to be of good courage. Oh, I think I skipped too far. Okay. Wanted to know, is there a certain fee expected when signing the lease? So in the typical fees are first month rent and security deposit. So guys, let me also say this with I don't know if I said it before. Like, you, for a low income tax credit program and these affordable housing, you should never ever pay any broker fees. So don't let anyone tell you that there's a broker fee for these units. So typically, again, the only fees first month rent and security deposit, which is typically the same amount as the first month rent. Some developers, like, sorry, I have to take one more bite. Some developers, they, like, one of the developers I worked for, if your credit score was above 700, the security deposit would have been lesser, but it really didn't apply to low income. It more applied to middle income and the market rate. So never mind. And some developers may still be, you never know. I've worked for developers where we gave like the first 3 months free, but that typically happens when they need to close out the lottery and they just need people to move in, so we could meet the first year applicable fraction. So sometimes there's incentives, but for the most part, it's first month rent and security deposit. Okay, so Housing Connect say I don't qualify for a disability mobile unit. That's different from what the agency told me. Well, when you say, because on Housing Connect, if there are certain questions that you would answer in order to determine if you would qualify for a unit, how do I say it? I don't think it's worded as mobility impaired. But there's Housing Connect asks a few questions that will determine that. So that's different from what the agent told me. So you have to clarify that some more for me. I'm trying to understand what you're saying is different, because if they're saying you didn't, if Housing Connect say you didn't qualify for the mobility unit, right? How did you move on to the agency? So clarify that for me so I can better answer your question. So for low income housing tax credit program, your rent, if it's a rent stabilized building, your rent could only increase by the amount stipulated by the rent guideline board. And that's happened every year. The rent guideline board publish a new increase. So if you do a 1 year lease, the following year your rent will go, the rent will increase based on the rent guideline board, right? So they have an increase for 1 year and they have an increase for 2 year leases. So if you do 2 years, then you're locked in to that amount for 2 years. If you do 1 year, then you're locked in for 1 year. And I think during the pandemic, it's funny that I asked because I was just talking to my colleague about this. I think during the pandemic, they did a new thingy. What am I trying to say? So typically, I'm trying to remember what they did during the pandemic. I want to say they froze. I don't want to misspeak, but yeah, they did something different during the pandemic. Typically, like for 1 year lease, they will have like say 1%. For 2 year lease, it'll be 2 point something percent or 1 point something percent. But during the pandemic, I know they talked about, is either they talked about it or they actually did it, whereas it's a little different from before, but it benefits the residents. But there's no seen a greater amount per month. There's no monthly rent increases. Everything for low income housing tax credit program is on an annual basis. Hope that answer your questions. Your question. Yes, you're so awesome. I'm so grateful for you. Um, I waited 3 years, finally got approved, and saw the apartment. It's small for a 1 bedroom. That happens. So, Leslie, this is what I'll say, right? Ask yourself, can I do 1 or 2 years in this 1 bedroom apartment? Is it just you or is it someone else? We have to take all these things in consideration. Look at your current circumstance and say, okay, would this benefit me in any way if I made this move and I'm here for 1 or 2 years? And you also have to ask yourself, do you want to move in the next 1 or 2 years? We have to factor all these things. And I don't know if when you view the unit, if you ask them if there were any other units available. As I said, do not be afraid to ask that. Do not be afraid to ask that. Because if they lie to you, that's a problem. So make these assessments. You have to make the determination. I know a lot of people that were just, again, as I said earlier, they're so happy that they took whatever was given to them because they were so excited. They really didn't look around, or they didn't think that, oh my God, all my stuff is not going to fit in here, or oh my God, I cannot deal with a school being right next to my apartment, or I cannot deal with being right next to the refuse room, or I cannot deal with being right next to the elevator. These things matter because at the end of the day, yes, you want an affordable rent. Yes, you want a nice building, but you also want a peace of mind, right? So you want to make sure that you're happy and comfortable in that new unit. And don't think like, oh, I shouldn't be picky. I should just be grateful and just take whatever I get. Yes, you should be grateful, but that doesn't mean you should just take whatever you get. Like, even though this is a great opportunity, you want to still make sure that you're happy. Your peace matter. And I want you guys to know that. And the same way you got this 1 bedroom, Leslie, it's the same way you could get another 1 bedroom. So you just have some personal decisions to make. If you can see yourself doing it, do it. If you honestly cannot see yourself doing it, it's okay. Something else would work out for you. Yes, that is, see, Tega, you need to double up with me here. Yes. amenities really make up for it. That's a great point. And what take, I mean, if you guys are not familiar, right? So a lot of these newer developments, the building have amenities. Like they have, like, a lot of the developers I work for had like a business center, they had a fitness room, they had a lounge, they had an outdoor barbecue. So you're not always inside the apartment. So sometimes, you make use of these amenity space. Some of the amenity space are free and some come at an additional cost. It depends on your billing. But yes, it does make up for it. Because say, for example, you have a studio. If your building have a business center or a lounge, you don't always have to work from inside the apartment. You could go downstairs, and obviously the amenity areas have free Wi-Fi. You could go downstairs and work from there. So it does make up for it. However, it's still important that you're happy with your actual living space. But that is a great point. Everyone say thank you, Tega. You see why we need each other? You guys help me as much as I help you. My paychecks varies because I work in sales. Last year, 3W2s are extremely different. How does that work? Okay, that's fine. What they do is they take an average of your last 4 to 6 pay stubs, right? And as far as sales, the last three W. When you say the last three W-2s, are you talking about the last 3 years, or are you talking about three different employers? But that's fine. Don't worry about that at all. We have our method of calculating your income. No unit number yet. Okay, that's fine. As I said, Kara just asked if there's other units available. Yes, Leslie, are you going to take the unit? Comment and let us know. After what Tega said too, comment and let us know what your thoughts are. Okay. So I think I just answered this question regarding persons with voucher. If your voucher covers the entire rent, then that's great. If your voucher does not cover the entire rent, you still have to meet the qualification. I lost my job after I submitted documents for an apartment. I don't know what to do, but I'm in the process of getting a new job. I just need some advice on what to do. Okay. How you say your name? Binta? That's fine. So what you need to do when you say you're in the process of getting a new job, were you interviewed? Do you have a start date? How does that work? Because what happened is you would have to have income to obviously qualify for the unit if you're applying for a low income tax credit program. So your new job would need to meet the qualification required for your household size, and the tier that you're in process for. Even if it doesn't meet the tier for what you were in process for, it just needs to meet a tier of units that's available. So you obviously have to be forthcoming. I don't know where you are in the process. You said you submitted your documents. I don't know if they already sent it to the agency. What I'm curious to know is if you have a start date for your new job and if your new job is the same income. And and listen, Binta, the same thing. Everything is going to work out in your favor. I know you may be asking yourself, why is this happening now? Right? But don't be discouraged. Everything happened for you and not to you. So you may not know why this is happening now, but later on in life, you'll see why certain things shifted. Be of good courage and don't feel like this is the end of it. It doesn't have to be. See how things work out and be of good courage. Yes, Kara. Our log is application been showing pending. So, but yes, continue to wait and be of good courage. Just make sure you're checking in on your profile to see if there's any changes. The reason for my rejection was that my household did not meet asset and the income required for a mortgage approval. However, my income increased. Can I talk to someone at HBC? Okay, are you in the process for a lottery for a home or for an apartment? Because I'm not understanding what you're saying, meeting the asset, because there's no asset. I assume that you may, well, I don't want to assume, but it appears that you may be in the process for a home and not an apartment, because there's no asset required. There's no minimum asset requirement to in order to be eligible. Yes, don't give up. Yes, I see all these encouraging messages. I hope you guys are also reading the messages on the side. Where did I leave off? Can I see more than one mobility apartment? Absolutely. Again, this is if it's available. I don't know what, their availability is, but if they have more than one apartment available for what you qualify for and it's not assigned to someone, yes. So let me put you guys on a inside thing, right? And I always tell my team, because I like to give persons options, especially when I can. So typically, sometimes developers try to just show you one unit, right? But in my mind, I'm like, if we have more than one unit, show more than one. You want people to have options, right? So naturally, someone will say, hey, this is a unit that's available. And again, because Pearsons are so happy, they're like, oh my God, yeah. And they don't even ask. So some people are so afraid to ask questions. And I keep telling you guys, there's nothing to be afraid of. But if you ask, again, are there any additional units available for the tier that I qualify for? That's all you got to ask. And they could either say yes or no. Adding to my account, my leasing agent said all right, so Benny, I think you're the person that just said, sorry, forgive my lack of memory. So I think you're the one that said you lost the employment, right? So either way, Benita, you don't want to do that, because there at least signing, there is a document that's called the reaffirmation of income, right? That you have to sign acknowledging that your income is the same and nothing changed. So you do not want to proceed signing that document. And that's not the case, because in one of my previous videos, I talked about a gentleman that he signed that document that nothing changed, and it did, because he started a new job before. And I'm not saying this is scary, I'm saying this to help you, because the last thing I would want to hear is that you get evicted, and this will happen, if we don't do things the right way. So the gentleman said he did not, nothing changed with his income, because his wife was employed. He allegedly, initially he advised he wasn't employed, so it was only the wife income that was counted. At the lease signing, he signed that reaffirmation of income, stating that there's no changes in his income or household information, right? Moved in, got the apartment, brand new building, lovely apartment with his, I think they had a young child. A year later, when he was doing his recertification, guess what happened? The same, we have to obviously ask for documents, and it showed that his start date for that employer was prior to the date that he signed the document, saying that nothing changed. So in theory, he was earning income at lease signing and should have disclosed that income. However, he knew that if he disclosed that income, their household would not be eligible. So for that reason, he withheld the information. So they got in, moved in the apartment. They were there for a little shy of a year. During recertification, we took them to legal, and he was evicted. So I don't want that to happen for you. So even if you get in, because I'm not going to say you may not get in, but you get in, once that's, they recognize that you are no longer employed there or what have you, then that's not a good look for you. I was told they who, when you say they, who are you referring to? Work on a voucher process first, but they did not mention the process. I'm in a shelter. So you're in a shelter. A lot of times, what developers have is what's called a set aside. It's a homeless set aside, but you have to clarify when you say they told you they'll work on the voucher process, because I'm not understanding that, and I want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly. But they are set aside units that you may benefit from. Great question. How do we know when an apartment from Housing Connect is rent stabilized? The description will state that it's a rent stabilized building. How are people? Hi, Miss Jade. I see your name all the time too. Thank you for being a part of the community. I appreciate you. How are people selected to apply to re-rentals beside their income? It's the same process, because the re-rentals are classified as mini lotteries. So it's pretty much the same process. Do they give preference to people that live in the community? Don't quote me on this, but typically all lotteries do have that same preference. That's a great question. I'm trying to remember, because I did a re-rental on Housing Connect. That's a great question. I will find out. I'll find out. I don't recall if the re-rentals, I'm leaning towards yes, but I'm not 100% sure. So shoot me a comment and I'll find out for you. I'm not 100% sure, but typically all lotteries have preferences, but I'll find out and get back to you. But the re-rentals is pretty much the same process. I have over 72 application pending. Eden, kind of scare me when you say that. You know why? Because that to me, I hope you're not just apply, 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 apply. Make sure you're applying to what you're eligible for, because we don't want to overly apply and then miss things, because I'll just apply to everything and we miss the lottery that actually matters to us, or we miss that update from that lottery. That's why it's so important that we're intentional when we're applying and not just applying across the board. But what I am glad is that you're on the profile and that you're actually, applying. But just my recommendation is be intentional when you're applying. But I hope to hear some great news. Okay, everyone. So Leslie is taking the apartment. What are the odds for me being picked again for the lottery? The super told me they make the apartment smaller for a subsidized apartment and people paying market rate. That's not necessarily true. But okay, so Leslie, I don't want the part that I don't like. What are the odds? All things could work in your favor again. So don't base it. And this is what I kind of said earlier, right? A lot of times person feel like, oh my God, this may never happen to me again, so I have to take it. I don't want you to have that mentality, because the same way it happened now, it can happen again. What's important is your peace and if you can see yourself living there, that's fine, right? But you just have to be true to yourself. That's all that matters. And that's what you should base it on. You should not base it on the probability of that happen again, because everything can happen again. Everything is going to work in your favor. And just as it's happening now, it will happen again. Right. So base it on if you can see yourself being there. Because, say, for example, it's so small that you can only fit your bed, you can fit, say you have to get rid of half the stuff you have now, right? Or say you're claustrophobic or something. You got to think about these things, because these things matters. Like, you have to just make sure you can see yourself there. All right, forget everything else. Forget what the super told you. I don't know what he's talking about. I always tell the maintenance team, stop talking, stop saying these things, because you gotta remember that sometimes people just say things, and I don't like when the maintenance team say certain things to residents, because they oftentimes say the wrong things. And also, regarding the size, I work for many developers, and there's different square footage for different units, but the size of the unit is not tied to whether it's affordable or market rate. I've rented apartments that's $10,000, $11,000. That's the same size as a middle income or a low income apartment, so that's not necessarily true. I actually have a lot of, well, not a lot. I have a few videos. I've been taking videos of a few development, like inside the apartments. Do you guys want to see those? Let me know if you want me to show you those of what it looks like, if in case for the person that's not actually viewed a unit. So, how come some apartments are asking for tenants to pay electricity for cooking, heat, and hot water? So the buildings, it varies. Some buildings, certain amenities, certain yeah, amenities, some amenities, certain amenities are included. Some pay different things. So it really depends on the building, but that's definitely possible. And a lot of buildings have a utility allowance too, whereas some residents are reimbursed a portion. I got a call for an apartment in February and I qualify for a 2 bedroom, but I still haven't received a call for an available unit. How long will the wait for the apartment be? Okay, so when you say when you say you got a call for an apartment in February and I February and I qualify for a 2 bedroom, but still haven't received a call for an available unit. But I thought you said you got a call for an apartment in February. So you have to clarify that for me. And as far as how long for the wait, I can't speak on the wait time, because every developer is different. Everyone process is different. There's no set time. It just all depends what's going on with that developer. So there's no particular waiting period or any specific timeline that I could say, because I'll be misinforming you. Why do some complexes require you to recertify each year and some complex don't? Okay, so for low income tax credit program, all developers have to require recertification. However, some developers have to do a full recertification, meaning pretty much all the same documents as you did initially. And some developers, that's classified as 100% tax credit, do what's called they don't have to do a full cert. They just do a student status certification. So all you're doing each year is signing the student status certification, just indicating what your student status is, because as you know, if you're a full-time student, that may impact your eligibility. So once you're participating in affordable housing, you have to recertify. It's just that some just don't, they apply to not do full certification. And keep in mind, guys, as I always tell you, when you recertify, it doesn't matter what your income is. When you recertify, you're not required to still be in that income bracket that you initially needed to qualify. So you could be making $1 million or you could be making $20, or you could not even be making anything. You're not required to be in that to earn a certain income once you move in. The only qualification is initially. However, you just still have to recertify each year, because that's how the developer continue to get their tax credit if you continue to be eligible. What happens after 20 years within the 80/20 buildings? So the abatement period, I think it's 35 years or 30 years, where the developer could decide to bump the rent to market, but no one is going to do that. I've never seen any developer do that. So I always tell people, don't worry about that. And it shows it in your lease. I think it's 30 or 35 years though, but the probability of them bumping is slim to none. Because you have to understand that what the developer utmost goal is maintaining a good relationship with the city, so they could continue to get these tax exemptions. So yeah, the probability of low income developers are 80/20 building bumping to market, slim to none. Hey, Shonda, I'm glad you caught the live too. I think I could save it. I hope I remember how to save everything. Building is brand new, so that's a plus. I love new buildings. Brand there's what I think about it, guys. Like, think about living in New York City in a brand new apartment. That's like amazing. That's so amazing. I love new apartments. I love new buildings. Only 30 people. Okay. So Leslie, I'm sorry. I don't know if you said it in your last video. Oh, you did say you're gonna take it, right? So out of a 1 to 10, Leslie, let me know where you are, as what percentage of you think as though you're making the right choice. And I just want to see some feedback. Guys, if you were in Leslie's position, based off what she advised, would you guys take it? Let me know in the comments. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped your question. Bear with me. I'm still new to this, and what was the question? Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm not even seeing it. Oh, Olga, you're most welcome. You are most welcome. Why? And guys, I'm going to go to 9:15, so 15 more minutes. My food is cold. I don't want to pass out on live, and I don't think you guys want me to pass out on live either. Why are most of the low income under 35K usually in the Bronx? I don't think that's the case. Again, it's just a matter of the AMI. So I don't think it's I've seen I've done low income. I did a building in Brooklyn that was way under 35K, brand new apartment, brand new building. So I don't think so. It's just a matter of, the current availability. But that's in all boroughs. And Brooklyn, mostly Bronx and Manhattan. I rarely see anything for Queens. I mostly see like smaller developments outside of Long Island City. I know a lot of major developers that build a lot of amazing buildings in Long Island City. Oh, now Shonda, I remember. Shonda, now I remember who you are. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone say hello to Shonda. Now my memory is coming back. I remember who you are. Yes, definitely make sure you give them by the deadline. Yes, that handbook. Well, in this case, it wouldn't be the HUD handbook, but the HDC marketing handbook. Definitely, definitely, definitely make sure you guys familiarize yourself. Okay, so Raz, you don't have anything to worry about. So Raz was saying she's in sales, or he or she's in sales, and the income fluctuates. So don't worry about it. Worst case scenario, if your commission is all over, if you get commission and it's all over the place, what they could potentially do is look at your last 3 tax return to get an average if we're unable to determine it. But you have nothing to worry about. Especially that it's the same employer, it makes it so much easier. Okay, perfect. So Benita, I want everyone. I don't know if anyone is religious in here, but I want everyone to keep Benita in their prayers. Um and hope that this new job, it is, if it is to be for her, that it works in her favor, because this new job would be what will secure the apartment for Benita, as she lost her job while she was in the process. And as you guys know, in order to be eligible, she'll have to still meet that income before she moves in. So if anyone is religious, please keep Benita in their prayer and hope that everything works out in her favor. You are most welcome. And I'm looking forward. Benita, I'm gonna let you be one of the person that get the Zoom. So the 15-minute Zoom session, because I think you could benefit um from some information. Let me write this down so I could remember. So I'm gonna do a 15-minute Zoom with you so I could help you. So I can help you work through this. Just leave your email in a comment, or email affordablehousinghelp@gmail, your email address, so I could send you the Zoom link. Well, we could talk about the date and time that works best for you. Okay, I want to help you through this, and everything is going to work out. Everything is going to happen when it's supposed to, so don't be discouraged about anything. I didn't look at the unit I was offered. What do Gina, you got to clarify what you mean for me. That you didn't look at the unit I didn't look at the unit. You got to refresh my memory. All right, let me just go through. I'm not honest, to be honest, I haven't looked at the new development in a while, but that name does not sound familiar. Okay, let me just go through. All right, so what I encourage you to do, you've been applying. There's a lot of helpful videos on the channel, and so many people told me that they watched the videos, followed the steps, and they got through. So what my recommendation would be, take some time, go through the videos, get all the information that you can, read all the materials that I recommend. And I'm positive that that will help you. I know for sure that that information will help you. 10 more minutes, guys. So I'm not I don't have details on any specific buildings, because again, every developer process is different. So I wouldn't know any personal information as to what's going on with certain buildings. I'm not familiar with that, but if you applied, once you apply to a developer, they have to send you some form of correspondence whatsoever. So I'll just say, be on the lookout for some correspondence. If this was a while ago, you said it's been years. I don't know if you applied on the old Housing Connect. If so, they would have sent you like an email at that point, because it wasn't 2.0 where the system is updated. Oh, you guys are awesome. Yes, please keep her in prayer. This is a great question. Yes. And thank you, NW. I always see your comments too. So I appreciate you being a part of the community. Yes, you can see, well, let me not say. can you see an apartment before you accept it? So what I used to do, I used to show the apartments beforehand, right? But you should definitely, what I told you guys in a previous video, you should definitely see the apartment before you sign a lease for it, right? Some developer process is different. Some want to wait till you're approved by the agency before showing you the unit, right? What I normally do, once you come in with your documents, I show you the unit, right? And it appears that you're eligible. I show you the unit, but that's just me. Everyone does it. That's just me, and I instruct my team to do the same. But everyone does things differently. So you have some developers that, again, you have to wait till you're approved. You have some that will want to show you the unit the same day you're doing the lease signing. And I told you guys this in my previous video. Some will say, yeah, come in to sign the lease and then review the unit. Never do that. Do not sign any lease for a unit that you have not seen. I don't care how new the building is. I don't care what information they send you. Make sure you see that unit before you sign the lease, before you hand over your checks. So don't be so, I want you guys to really have your head screwed on when you're there and not be so amazed that you forget about certain things. So it's a great opportunity, but do it the right way. Okay, so there's different AMIs, right? So sometimes you could qualify for two, and AMI mean air median income. Sometimes you could qualify for two different AMIs. If you qualify, say you qualify for the 140, but there's no more two bedroom for the 140, then they'll offer you the 160, but you don't have to take it. It's just sometimes it could be a lower log number than you that qualify for the 140, so they have to offer it to them, and the only thing available to offer you is the 160, but it will be your choice if you decide to take it. Ooh, it's almost time. So again, I can't say how long it will be for available unit because I don't know any developer, not any, I don't know which developer you're with or what their availability is. But February, that's an unreasonable amount of time. So I would recommend sending them an email, put your red receipt on the email, let them know that you're following up as it's been a while since you heard back. So you just want to know where you are in the process. And again, put a red receipt on it. And if you don't hear back, you can also give them a call. It's kind of unusual amount of time if you had submitted documents. So what I would personally do, if you do those steps, the email, send at least two emails. Be polite, obviously, put a red receipt on it and the delivery receipt, and give the developer a call also. If you don't hear back by the end of this month, I would write the agency, the monitoring agency. Okay, so I want to move in a new building with amenities, but I don't want to pay 2,400. But you got to remember, I rented new buildings with amenity where people were paying $500-$600. It just depends what your income is, because remember, it's based on your eligibility. So you have a lot of new buildings that have low income units that's below that amount. The 2,400 you're talking about, that's middle income. So if you're someone that qualifies for a middle income, yes, with you moving into a new building, you're gonna be paying. When I did middle income, the studios, I think the cheapest studios I had was $1,650. And we actually bumped that to 1,800. So yeah, if you're gonna move right now and you're middle income, you're looking at paying in the 2,000 range. Okay, so I need one more. I think I need one more person to pick, guys. Who should I give the next Zoom session to? Comment and let me know. Well, Tega, I don't think you need yours. I wrote down your name, but I don't think you need yours. Tell me if you need yours, because since you're in an apartment. But who do you guys think I should give the other Zoom session to? Oh my God, I forgot about the questions in the email. So you guys, hold on, let me go through these. Let me go through the questions here. All right, so I'm currently in my first apartment. I'm currently in my first apartment, my first new building, but they're having issues with leaks and sealing. Okay, so if they're having repair issues, you call the maintenance team, right? If you call a maintenance team, give them the opportunity to resolve it. A lot of buildings, they have work order systems where you could put in a work order on the computer. So that's always the first step. Try to have it resolved internally. If you haven't received any response, at least try to do 2 to 3 times. Things happen. If not, at that time, you just call 311. But that's the last resort, because I don't like when people just get up and do that. At least give that building the opportunity to get it right. How do I hop from housing to housing faster? I'm not gonna answer that because I don't like when people hop, because to me you kind of taking advantage of the system, and that's just my opinion. Because if you got the opportunity and it's a beautiful apartment, the goal shouldn't be to hop, and that's why I personally do not like some factors about the community board preference. And this is just because what I've seen, where a lot of person just move into a new building, and then a new building around the corner opens up and they just move into that, so they're getting so many chances of getting a new unit, which is rare to so many in New York City. So I'm not a fan of hopping. What is the lease renewal process like when I haven't done my taxes? Again, you not doing your taxes would not I mean, at this time you have to have extension file, but what's required is your last filed tax return. So if you're doing your recertification now and you didn't do your taxes yet, you just need to provide proof that you file an extension, and then you provide your last tax return. If going through an income change and I'm not able to pay the rent, is that a reason to not renew the lease for another year? What happens if you can't pay the rent in affordable housing? If you're talking about low income tax credit um, program, where your rent is based on what's agreed upon and not tied to your income, but tied to the rent guideline board increase. If you can't pay the rent, what I always say is contact the legal team and try to work out a payment plan. Don't just not pay the rent and not say anything, because they will start legal proceeding. If you do your due diligence and pay what you can and work with the agency, then that will help you. And HRA have what's called a one-shot deal. So I've seen so many persons get a one-shot deal where they pay off all their rent, especially if you're experiencing hardship. But the bottom line is communicate with the management team, communicate with the legal team. Don't just not pay. That's never the solution. Okay. I think one other person. And everyone thank Tega again for putting those questions together for me. So is it true that 421A prohibits landlord from permitting subletting of units acquired through the lottery? Yes. You should not be subletting your unit. You got an amazing opportunity that you're qualified for based on your income. You shouldn't be earning money from it. And with these housing, the intentions is for it to be a primary residence, not for it to be a source of income. So subletting is not permitted whatsoever. Okay. So I think that's it, guys. So let me just go through here. I'm gonna try to save the live. I hope I remember how to do it. I really hope I do. Okay, so who should I pick for the last Zoom spot, guys? Did you tell me who to pick? Can you, let me answer this real quick. Can you send in all the paperwork, qualify, and still not get selected? If you were contacted and you send in the paperwork and you're qualified and they're up to your lottery, there's no reason. It's no longer as they're not up to your lottery, up to your log number, then it should be no issue. The only way you could submit your paperwork, qualify, and not get the unit is if there's a lower log number than yours that took the last available units. That's a good point. You got a building next to the subway allowed. I refused that one. Wasn't sure I can deal with it. You got to be true to yourself. I tell people all the time because I've seen way too many residents come back to me. Oh, can you move me to this? Can you move me to? And my disclaimer, just as I'm talking to you guys, that's how when I did the lease ups, that's how I'm very transparent. You know, I'm not trying to sell anyone anything that this is the same way I used to advise applicants. Okay. Benita already got one. Oh, wait. Am I reading it wrong? All right. So who should get the last? Everyone is saying me. Donna said Benita. Yeah. So she's going to get one. So you guys are not helping me. Who should get the last Zoom session? All right, you know what? I'll decide in the comments. So I still have 2 more Zoom sessions. So I'll decide in the comments. So you guys just drops. I hope I could save this live. But thank you guys for joining. And again, please share this information with a friend. Invite a friend to the channel. And just take your time, go through the different videos, learn all you can, read the HDC marketing handbook, and be positive. I hope you were inspired by the information here. And thank you guys for engaging and just, making it more of a conversation. I really appreciate you guys. And I hope that you found this information helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching. And for everyone that have the Zoom, I will just leave your email in the comment or email me affordablehousinghelp@gmail.com to say, hey, I was selected for the Zoom. This is my email. I already made notes of who it is. So don't try to pull any fast one, guys. But yeah, I will definitely be sending out the Zoom link. We could arrange a time. And I just want to help you and meet you where you are. I want you guys to continue to be of good courage. All right. Have an amazing day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Take care now. You too, Tega. Enjoy your weekend.